Thanks very much. Always fantastic to get here in Noosa. I feel more alive straight away just after a morning walk. Brilliant. Just sit back, relax. I've got 15 minutes. I can't really tell you a lot in 15, but I can give you a flavour. The mighty Rex, Sexy Rexy. We're on the runway. We're looking for takeoff. We have two assets. Right? This is what happens to a junior explorer when you discover things. We've got Hillside copper in South Australia, 2 million tonne of copper. We're financing the project at the moment, $1.52 a pound C1 cost. Copper price sitting around 380 something, 390. $1.89 all-in sustaining cost. 2 million tonne of copper. Right? 1 million of those tonne is in reserve. Our stage 1 project runs for 11 years and mines 500,000 tonne of copper at around 38,000 tonne per annum. We also discovered the mighty Hog Ranch in Nevada, and we're in a good part of Nevada, and Nevada's one of the best addresses on the planet. Everyone always talks about the best address. Well, let me tell you, I've been around. We all know Western Australia's awesome. It really is. You can get stuff done. Nevada and West Australia tussle for first prize all the time. You can really get stuff done. But the sleeper is South Australia, where our copper project is. But the mighty Hog Ranch, owned by Western Mining in 1988, we've discovered 2 million ounces. We're conducting a strategic review, and I'll tell you about that. So we're a two for one. The copper asset and the discovery in Nevada, and it's pretty exciting. Really hard to talk to you today because we're in the middle of funding. And we've got a lot of processes running, which means I'm not allowed to say anything to anyone. And they try and script me down to something that makes it not worth listening to. So I'll try and give you as much as I can. I've just pulled out some main points here. We've got some good parties looking at joining us in the adventure in South Australia. I mean, we need to find $900 million. Let's round it to a cool billion, right? You're not supposed to be able to do that as a junior. Australians have lost their way. Once upon a time, we had a red hot go. This is an audacious project for a small company with 150 million market cap, but we are having that red hot go at developing this asset. Not just running around on our knees trying to hock it to someone overseas. And we are looking for a good partner that wants to participate in this journey. Not surprisingly, the partners that we're talking to have asked to have a look at what happens after year 11. Well, that makes sense because there's a lot going on after year 11. I'll talk to you about it. Just so we're all clear, we're financing. We don't have a timeline for final investment decision right now. Our timeline is linked directly to the timelines of the partners. We're trying to bring the banking together at the same time as we bring the equity side of this deal together. What can I say? We have obviously great interest from top-tier banks. Why not? What's not to like? We're in South Australia, we're in copper, and we've got great ESG credentials. Tick, tick, tick. It's a really financeable project. We won't be leasing the main contracts until we actually put all the dollars in the bank together. But we have placed orders for over $100 million of ultra-class equipment with Hitachi so that we're not out of step with our timeline and we can meet our build obligations. And they've been fantastic for us to work with. There's a whole story there. I'm not going to dwell on this slide, but I just want to make a point. We aren't outback WA. We are not outback South Australia. We are not outback Queensland. We are on the Yorks. This is the place people want to come and live to work and work to live, right? And that gives us a massive competitive advantage, not just with labour, but the cost of labour, the cost of contracting. You know, yeah, the world's not great. I'd never heard of Silicon Valley Bank before March this year. And I heard all about it, right? So, yeah, not everything's awesome, but guess what? The copper price is. And if things get worse, the costs come down. We priced our project at $200 a tonne iron ore. It isn't $200 a tonne anymore. So there's wins and losses. Our project came up with $1.38 back in December last year when we released it. We used $3.90 copper. Hey, today it's $3.80 something. But we make more money because the exchange rate buffers us. Right? It's not all bad down here in Little Oz. That's really a recruitment slide. There's a lot of technical professionals at this conference. And I know when I was a young guy, if I would have offered my wife to go and live on the Yorks an hour and a half out of Adelaide with 50 towns on the Yorks alone, right? Tinny in after work or surfing, depends what floats your boat, what a place to go. Instead, I took it to Kambalda. Wasn't as good. Put this chart up. ASX don't like you saying much about producers versus explorers, but you know, this is a really important benchmark. Per pound of reserve in the ground. What is a pound of copper in the ground? And that's a range of copper producers, right? Don't worry about it. Average price 42 cents. A pound of copper. Pound of copper sells for about just shy of $4 now. I agree with the last presenter. He used $12,000 a tonne. That's about $5.40. We think it'll be $10 in 5 years, right? Don't worry about that. 42 cents. If you look at that list, they're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're not doing brilliant. But imagine there was a little player that had 1 million tonne in reserve and a market cap, between 120 and 150. That'd be worth, about 4 or 5 cents a pound. Our growth potential, there's almost no downside with this company, but the upside is like you don't see on major projects. It's pretty exciting. Where are we? Well, that's the Gawler Craton. Doesn't mean much to a lot of people. Western mining geologists uncovered it. They discovered Olympic Dam and the floodgates opened. You find copper where you find copper. It's a really good geological setting for this type of deposit. It's an IOCG, iron oxide copper gold. Prominent Hill, Carapatina, and now the mighty Hillside. The big difference is those mines mostly have about 0.5 kilometre of cover on top of them. 400 metres of nothing. You've got to drill through to find something. We've only got between 5 and 30 metres of cover. Makes a big difference. And if you look at that slide with the little yellow piece surrounded by red, that's our exploration licence. If I only had time, I could give a whole talk on our exploration opportunities there, which are more exciting than half a dozen companies slung together. But that's what happens when you discover something. Your attention goes. If we had a balance sheet, we'd be drilling there right now. I put this up, we've got history too. That's only 15 kilometres from our project site. At turn of the century. It's called the Copper Coast. The signs are up when you drive there. The Copper Coast. Moonta, the old days. It's kind of forgotten about. Copper, South Australia. South Australia is the copper engine room of this country. That's the view of the land we own. We've bought the farmland. Cost us a pretty penny. Right? So we own the farm. Why did I put that picture up? Just think about ESG credentials. And I mean real ESG, not just CO2. ESG. Look at that. The farmland was nuked for over 100 years. There's no flora and fauna. There's only field mice. There's nothing else. Right? It's flat, 30 centimetres of rainfall. Now, it's good farmland. Once a year, you get a crop out of it. I know, I've turned into a farmer in the last 7 years. We're cropping every year. Great place to build a mine. You can't mess it up. You can't go wrong. You're not displacing anyone or anything. No native title, but gee, we get on well with the Narungga, our friends up the road. And they're more excited than anyone about the start of this project. When I talk to you about $1.38, when I talk to you about an MPV just shy of $1 billion, that's only for stage 1. Not surprisingly, the companies have asked to see what does stage 2 look like. Well, you don't have to be Einstein to work out that once we build the process plant, and I can talk to you for a long time about that because we built in expansion capacity. Stage 2 is just a cutback. It's half the capital. Stage 2 is a big kicker. Gives you a plus 20-year mine life. It's easy to go to stage 3 after that. And at $10 copper, this would probably be a 50-year mine, at least, with underground options. I wish I had time to put up the 3D seismic and show you what looks like it's lying beneath. I'm going to pivot, and I hope I don't trigger too many people in the room today. I know I sound a little bit serious, but I don't normally go here, ESG, right? And it's so talked to death. But why not spruik when you've got a big advantage? God knows we're paying for it in the power cost. That's South Australia. It's already 70% renewable. Well, that's a bit of a free kick for the banks. They're looking for this sort of stuff, right? We produce 3 tonne of CO2 per tonne of copper that we produce. No one thinks about the fact that that 1 tonne of copper saves the planet 7,000 tonne of CO2. Right? That's a little bit of a concept that Bowen would never grasp. Mind you, he's got trouble grasping anything. Where are we going? Oh my God, I can't believe this country's energy roadmap. It doesn't exist. But nonetheless, we've been asked to deal with this uncertainty going forward. Well, just a quick detour. Riddle me this. If I electrify the whole fleet tomorrow, which we can because Hitachi have given us a roadmap, they'll let us swap out the engine and put in a 24-tonne battery, give us 2 hours life in the truck. Costs a fortune, but don't worry, we can electrify. We'll get rid of 1.5 tonne of CO2. Problem is the regulator will charge us another 1.5 tonne of CO2 from the renewable grid. So we're straight back to where we started. You know, you can't make this stuff up, can you, really? But we have plans. We can put a solar farm on, right there, on our own land, 40 meg. We're taking tenders at the moment for us. That's a really exciting proposition. But I want to give you this one. How many mines do you know of anywhere in the world that could leave this legacy one day for its people? At pumped hydro, we're adjacent to the Gulf. We've got 500 metres ahead. Forget the Tesla battery with its 43 seconds of power, right? This could run for 8 hours at 250 megawatt feeding into the grid. What a burster. An actual real-life pumped hydro that doesn't cost much to build because we've spent $4 to $6 billion excavating the hole for it. It's a really neat way to wrap a bow around a fantastic project for the future. If you're Elon Musk, you'd be saying, get in there and mine the copper now, we need it, and build me that power station. There's not a lot of Elons around, right? But that's what he'd be saying, I reckon. Exciting project. Why do I whack this in? Well, we had an open day the other day, 7 schools, nearly 300 kids, year 10 to 12. You know what was consistent? They had a good time. They were licking core in the core shed, right? We parked up gear for them to climb all over, but what did they line up for? They lined up for the simulators. They love those simulators. They were in there driving excavators, ultra-class, 300-tonne trucks. They loved it. You've never had 300 kids visit Olympic Dam because it's in the middle of nowhere. But they came to Hillside. It hasn't even been built yet. They didn't even know mining was a career option. And we've got so many young kids excited by this now. The government's supporting us with $1.5 million of investment to help us in the training of young people. I just want to throw to that because this is an important part of our industry's future. And what a great opportunity to be so close to a major city in South Australia, one of the 50 towns you could live in, only 10 minutes from the mine site, Ardrossan. I'm going to finish on the mighty Hog Ranch. Remember it, Hillside Hog. You can't really forget Hog, can you? That's an old pit from Western Mining, right? We've already got 2 million ounces. Eyes bigger than tummy. We're a little junior. Success. God, I wish we could do something further with it. We're looking for partners now. Don't have the time to talk to you about the geology. It's awesome. But there's a couple of photos from some site visits last month. We've got some big boys visiting now. We're looking for people to help fund the next phase of the Hog Ranch exploration/development. Hog's going to be an exciting name. You will hear of it in the future. And unfortunately, that's all I've got time for. I really appreciate your time. Thanks very much.